Hey YouTube Void, happy Easter, happy Passover. How's it going? How was your week? Hi, my name is Rachel. I am an artist slash part-time reseller that makes part-time pay slash person who is obsessed with sustainability, saving things from the landfill, climate change is real, trying to roll all of that into one video series that nobody has asked for and nobody's watching, and also trying to create a new form of what I like to call empathic capitalism. What is that, you ask? Good question. It is the idea that not only is capitalism great, but that we also have a responsibility to others to give back and to take care of those around us. Yeah, so all of those, some may say convoluted ideas, and rolling all of that into one. And nobody's watching the videos, but this has been really good for me.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Now you might think, I'm an actor, so I love watching myself on video and it's all about me, which I guess in some aspects that could be correct, but the truth of the situation is that no. Um I'm actually slightly introverted. I'm very awkward. I love performing because I love creating characters. I love understanding how human beings tick. I love understanding why people do things, and I love creating different worlds and maybe providing some empathy or understanding of people that we don't know or that we would never maybe experience in our day-to-day life, which sounds like I feel like I need inspirational background music for that, like do do do, do. No, that's actually the march for graduation, but that's yeah.
Yeah, you never know when something funny is gonna happen on this show.
Did something funny happen?
Yeah.
You'd never know it.
So I'm here in my thrifted top from the Goodwill bins and my thrifted pants from the Goodwill bins, trying to promote a world of sustainability and inclusiveness and empathy. And, in the world that we're in right now, seems very hard.
Those ha-has, they speak to me. I no longer want to be a doctor. I want to be a bully.
We always say, and by we, I mean nobody, says that, you really shouldn't talk politics unless you're like a political channel, because you're going to alienate people. And I feel like just from the videos that I watch for resellers that possibly we don't always share the same beliefs. So I try to be careful, but at the end of the day, it's very difficult to talk about what's going on in life and with our world and with the economy without getting into politics, or political discourse. And I firmly believe that people's politics are very personal to them and very much dependent upon their experiences in life. And so I have mad respect for anybody with a strong opinion, and I feel like having discourse regarding politics is something for, two people who know each other with a glass of wine and, an open mind. So, but I will say that in 2026, it just feels like a lot. Like it feels, I say this every week, but nobody's watching these videos, so I'll just reiterate. It just feels like everybody wants my time, everybody wants my money. The costs of everything have gone up. It's stressful. You know, decisions are being made regarding things like my health care, regarding things that are affecting my ability to pay bills. And so it's hard not to be very passionate about it. But I am here. I've had a couple of weeks where I've been very feeling sorry for myself, and I'm like, okay, we need to turn this around because, I think it's important to be realistic and not be not to have toxic positivity. But I also think that I don't change anything if I stay stuck in like feeling sorry for myself. So that's where we are. And we're in April now, so it's my birthday month, which is yay, awesome. For an actor, getting a year older is not great. Can't wait. I need new headshots. Anyways, I was like, the lighting here. I sang this morning for church because I have quite a few church gigs, and it's Easter. And I looked great at 5 o'clock in the morning. But after I got home, I had like extra coffee, and then I immediately took a nap. And so I'm like, ooh, okay, fun.
Actors, they're a lot.
So let's talk about the theme for the week, perception versus reality. And let's use our good friend Poshmark as an example, because I don't know if anybody watches this ever who is a reseller and has the same experience. But for me, it has been consistent, especially in the last, I would say the last few months, but it's probably been longer than that I keep getting offers on Poshmark. Most of the offers I get are like 50% off my asking price, which from a purely emotional place pisses me off. Like, listen, I don't know people's intentions. So, and this is something that I need to get over. Like, it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day because I can just not accept the offers. But I feel like sometimes it's a personal slight or a personal offense because, I spend time. Especially with clothes. I wash things. Sometimes I repair them. I take time photographing them. I take time listing them. I take time doing the best job that I can to provide like the most information for the buyer. And so like when I have a $10 vintage Mel Brooks Spaceballs button that, I've spent time listing, and it's like $10 and somebody's like offering $5, which on Poshmark again makes it even worse because anything under like a certain amount of money, they take out $2.95. It doesn't matter what percentage that is of the price it sells for. So like from $5, you get like $2.05. So all that time and effort you get $2.05. And so I'm like, but it's like the other issue is like if that happened like every once in a while, it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes people offer crazy amounts off and I'm just like, okay, bye. But for Poshmark, it seems like it's consistent. Like a linen blazer for half off, the Spaceballs thing for half off. Like I keep getting things like offers for half off what the asking price is. It doesn't matter whether it's $10, it doesn't matter whether it's $40. And I get like, and so I feel like I get very conspiratorial. Like somebody somewhere on some YouTube channel or some Reddit post or something, it's convincing people to offer 50% off because they think that's what they're going to, like, people will accept it. And maybe people are accepting it. Like, the economy right now is a little interesting. And so maybe people are desperate and maybe people are different than I am and have different priorities. And so they're accepting 50% off offers. So people are like, oh, emboldened and like, oh, great, I can offer 50% off. Like, I don't know anybody's personal circumstances, but it's hard, like perception versus reality. The perception for me is that everybody like disrespects me and thinks that all of my stuff is worth nothing and just wants to like all of my stuff for nothing. And that is so hyperbolic. It's so dramatic. It's so appropriate for an actor. But like, at the end of the day, I looked up stuff and I don't see any information as to, people going out of their way to encouraging people to list things at 50% off. If somebody watches this and has like data regarding that, please let me know. But the reality of the situation is that I don't know people's personal like situations. I don't know. Maybe they're just, they want a good deal and they don't care. And they're just like, this is what I'm willing to pay for it. And that's fair. and it's not personal. And so like dealing with like reselling has been like dealing with my career as an artist. It's like when you go to auditions, it's personal. Like you get rejected for sometimes reasons you have no idea. And it's because you're the product, it's personal. They're rejecting you. And it takes a lot to get used to that. That's why I'm like, you know what, if you hate these videos, if anybody watches them and is like, and you want to hate comment, fair. I've toured with Sesame Street Live, and that was at a time when Ticketmaster started like having like asking for reviews from every person who purchased a ticket. So we're talking about like thousands and thousands of like people being asked to do reviews. And I remember like literally, you know, seeing reviews from some random person like saying that I was screeching or saying how horrible I was. And to them, I was. And it's like, it took a lot to really like understand, you know, like not everybody's going to love you. And that's just the facts. And so when it comes to reselling, not everybody's going to value what you have. So for me, the lesson for this month is to let it go. You know, they want to offer 50% off on my listings on Poshmark. I can't do anything about it. I can't set parameters. So just let them and don't do anything. And, you know, at the end of the day, move on.
You know what the happiest animal on earth is? It's a goldfish. You know why?
No.
It's got a 10-second memory. Be a goldfish, Sam. Yeah?
I mean, that's my life lesson for this month. And I feel like that's my, you know, these videos, I'm the only one watching besides my boyfriend. Poor guy has to like watch every single video I produce. And oh, he did say that I say like a lot. So I'm just going to say more. I didn't realize I have words that I use ad nauseum. So if you want a great drinking game, watch my last video and drink every time I say like, and yeah, you'll be drunk pretty fast.
Hi, barkeep. How much for a beer?
It's gratis.
Ooh, that sounds expensive. Can you give us a moment? Lloyd, we blew our money on the graduation robes. Maybe we shouldn't drink.
No way. I need booze, man.
If I meet your daughter without a buzz on, she'll think I'm an idiot.
Hey, wait a minute.
What about the old stinkeroo? Yeah, I'm in.
It is the first week of April. So the first things first is we have to go through the entirety of March and see the gross profit versus the net profit, and what I lovingly refer to as the pre-net, which is what I've been doing every week. Really quickly, the pre-net is, so every week I go through the sales. The sales are determined by the day I take them to the post office, not when they actually sell. And then every week I've been taking out the fees, the platform fees, the shipping labels that I need to purchase, which are primarily on eBay, and any commissions that I pay out because I sell things on consignment. And actually, I've sold quite a bit of things on consignment, especially this last month, because you'll see the vast difference between the gross profit and the net profit, especially after taking out commission. And so we have our gross net, we have our pre-net, which I have lovingly coined, and then we have our as close to a net as I feel like I can get to. So we won't go through the actual individual sales. If you ever need to see that, they're in the last how many videos. Plus you can see me in the car as I'm getting ready to deliver pizzas to the employees at the Goodwill bins, which was part of my empathic capitalism and was something that I've wanted to do for like a year and was like super proud to do it. So, and no, they did not give me, like the next time I went to the Goodwill bins, they did not give me a discount. It wasn't like for me to like butter them up so they'll like hook me up with stuff. It was more of me like just saying thank you. For the great month of March 2026, with everything that is going on in the world, we had a total of 52 sales. overall. My gross profit was $1,157, which seems great. It's like, that's awesome for part-time work. Great. However, after we took out all of the platform fees, the commission, and the shipping labels, I was left with $645.60. So that's already like quite a bit right off the bat, especially because I sold some higher price stuff on commission. So my commission is usually after fees and after shipping label, what 50% of that is, which is maybe not a great way to do it because I'm doing all the work. However, I don't sell on consignment for a lot of people. Like, it's for friends. So I'm trying not to like make a crap ton of money off of them and off of their stuff. Let's talk about everything that we needed to take out of that pre-net, which was $645.60. So I actually had a return on Mercari, which I ended up getting back and then selling this week. So you'll see it again. No harm, no foul. But I did put that into like my calculations for the week. And so I have to take that out, which is $9.83. Then, because there were 52 sales, my donation, 50 cents from every sale, goes to the Second Harvest Food Bank in Orange County, which I've also volunteered at. I had a great time lifting 45-pound boxes of green cabbage, like you do. And so my donation for the month will be $26. I have an eBay store subscription every month, which needs to be taken into account with my eBay sales for sure, but it's $21.95. My cost of goods in general end up being low because I get a lot of stuff from the Goodwill bins. And if you don't know what the Goodwill bins is, look up Goodwill Outlet and see the pictures of all these giant blue bins with stuff just piled in it, and you pay by the pound. So for the most part, a lot of times I don't end up paying more than like $2 or $3 per item. But anyways, my cost of goods was for the month $45.04. I did have to buy some bubble wrap. I had a lot of breakable stuff and I ran out. Even though I try and reuse boxes and packaging material from like Amazon, and a lot of my friends save that for me, I did need to purchase some. So that was $16.30. So after I took out all of those, I then had $526.48. However, I'm trying to put this delicately because at the end of the day, like, I've never minded paying taxes. Like, as somebody who, again, believes that, like, we're meant to look after each other, like, I have no problem with my taxes going to things like roads and teachers and meals for kids and healthcare and, you know, all this stuff that I think is important. Fire department, police department, all that good stuff. But it does seem that from both sides of the political aisle that a lot of the people in charge of appropriating our tax money are not doing it in the best interests of the people who are paying taxes, to put it lightly. So the idea of holding money aside for taxes right now like fills me with dread. Anyways, for self-employment, it is recommended that you hold like approximately like 30% for tax purposes. So that's what I do. Whether I end up paying it at the end of the year after all the deductions are put in, you know, is another story, but at least we have that set aside so I don't go to jail.
Who's that?
So 30% of that is $157.94. As close to the net profit that I have for the month of March, we have $368.54, which if you look at the like gross profit, which was over $1,100, it's insane. And that has been the biggest mind of like this journey, and I think it's taken me so long to really like come to terms with it because I'm seeing it now like in actual numbers, is that like this is a lot of work and the margins are so small. So for the month of April, what have I learned from the last 2 months? The first thing is that a lot of stuff that I picked up in the hopes of saving them from the landfill, which I'm not going to feel bad about, when I list something for like $10, the amount of money that I'm going to take home when all is said and done is very minimal after you take everything out. And so trying to, in an economy where people are stretched financially, how do I find things that are more desirable, more profitable, and have a higher value? You can either go one of two ways. You can either go volume or you can do quality, like, Temu or Tiffany's. And in a perfect world, I would like to be Tiffany's. As I mentioned, I am part-time with this. I don't have the time to, this week, I not only had doctor's appointments, but I had auditions, which I had to then drive to different parts of the city for, and class. And so, I literally had 3 or 4 days where I couldn't do anything reselling related besides sending things to the post office and packaging them. And so being more strategic with that, which starts with the sourcing, which right now I'm still trying to get through my death pile, but that is something for me to keep under advisement. Also, too, with my death pile, I think I'm being a little bit more picky about what I'm going to end up listing at the end of the day. I'm definitely starting to make decisions. I do donate a lot of clothes. If I feel like it's not worth it and I'm not going to, make enough money reselling it online, I will bring it to places. I volunteer at a kind of soup kitchen type place that is run by different interfaith churches and synagogues. I bring clothes there for people who are in need, and they can actually just grab the clothes there and pick out what they need. So sometimes things are not meant to be online. Shipping is expensive, and so I really need to be cognizant and aware of what is worth it for me. The second thing that I really need to be more focused on is to really understand it does take me a minute to list stuff, and that's important to me because not only do I love history and I love research, and there are times where I've researched something and then found something to be valuable, and then I've seen it at the bins and then picked it up and then ended up selling it for a lot of money because I had already done the research beforehand. But I do need to be aware of what a buyer would want, what is the information that they need, and to provide them with that information. So for this next month, just get through the death pile, Rachel. Nobody's watching this video. Get through the death pile. Your boyfriend's watching this video. He will appreciate it. And then going forward, being more picky about what I'm picking up at the bins, which sucks because I'm just trying to save stuff from the landfill, and I hate it. I hate seeing those bins full of clothes, and they're just that it just is going to go to the landfill and, create more waste. So, but anyways, yeah, that's what I have control over right now. I know also too, trying to bundle stuff may be a better idea. I pick up a lot of Athleta leggings because I use them. I think they're great quality in general. So bundling things that I think people will need, kids' clothes, things that are necessities in general, you will need to purchase, kids' clothes, or things let's say going to a sports game is expensive, or going to Disneyland is very expensive. So if you want to be decked out and have the experience, the best thing to do is to purchase something online. So how do I make things more mutually beneficial? How can I bundle things together because shipping is so high, so that people will have a better deal, and then I'm not getting screwed on the back end because shipping everything individually is going to cost more. So we'll see what but onwards and upwards. I am going to be positive and just keep going. Oh, and I've learned this month that my shipping costs on eBay, like I do like a flat rate shipping cost, or like not even close to what the actual shipping costs are going to be. And the post office is increasing their prices yet again, which, like, there's no fair competition. Like, this is the truth of the situation, right? Like, Amazon, even Poshmark, like, they're able to provide a 5-pound label for way less than I can get for a package weighing over a pound. Like, it's not, there's no fair competition. So what do I do to, like, try and offset that? Well, putting stuff on Poshmark is great. If you purchase things like me, like online, that is secondhand, purchasing the heavier stuff on Poshmark a lot of times is going to be a better deal for, like, especially for the seller. But yeah. But yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? They say that. People, the void says Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm learning and adjusting in real time. So let's go over this first week of April. I had a great, like, weekend of sales, especially because I had a nice, like, over $100 sale, and then it just cratered. There's my definition for the week. But let's get into it, and then hopefully this next week will be better, and we will work hard to try and make it that way. On Monday, I had 5 sales, and again, the Monday sales are usually from the sales from over the weekend. All 5 sales were on eBay. So we had a Dowdle 1,000 piece art landscape Seattle puzzle. It was open, but the puzzle pieces were sealed. It sold for $15 with $10 shipping, and eBay released $21.25. Then we have a vintage 1971 Barbie Skipper Double Dasher dress and coat that sold on commission for $20 with $5 shipping, and eBay released $21.20. Then we have a vintage 1985 fuzzy grizzly bear plush stuffed animal, super cute, sold for $20 with $7.50 shipping. Say that 5 times fast. And eBay released $23.32. Then we have my return from last month, which was the vintage Y2K Harley Davidson cropped tank. Hopefully this one will come back to me again. But it sold for $15 with $5 shipping, and eBay released $16.73. Then we sold a Palanti mother of pearl purple watch for $160 and $6 shipping. That was also sold on commission. eBay released $143.10. So for that group of sales, eBay released to me $225.60. We, of course, have to take out 5 shipping labels, which were $12.58, $5.39, $7.12, $5.77, $5.71. For commission, I had to pay out $7.90 and $68.69 for a grand pre-net total for Monday of $112.44. So yeah, not bad. That was great for a weekend for a part-timer. But wait, it gets worse. On Tuesday, we had 2 sales, both of them on eBay. eBay was pretty much like the only one working this week. We have 2 Hawaii themed shell necklaces and a ring, and it sold for $12 with $5 shipping. eBay released $14.39. And then we have a 2013-2015 Barbie doll with dress, sold for $8 with $6 shipping. eBay released $11.72. I generally don't have like any Barbie dolls, like, at least for sale for less than $10. As I mentioned, margins are tiny. So I don't remember listing this for $8, but I also don't want a conspiracy theory and say that eBay like lowered my price without any reason. So I tried to like look up when I listed it, but it's been a minute. So, I mean, $8, great. Yay. The amount that was released to me from eBay was $26.10. And then we had 2 shipping labels that needed to be taken out, which were $6.22 and $6.43, for a grand pre-net total of $13.46. Wednesday, we had 0 sales, which it was probably for the best because I was playing catch up. Monday, I had a doctor's appointment. Tuesday, I had a big audition, which I booked, but I can't talk about it. But yay. I actually feel like I'm a professional sometimes. It's super exciting. But I digress. Then on Thursday, I had 1 sale. And then on Friday, no sales again. So, like I said, Monday started out great. And then it was like... Anyways, on Thursday, there was 1 sale through Poshmark. And it was a Disney Parks limited edition bed knobs and broomsticks pin. I loved that movie as a kid. It sold for $30 and Poshmark released $24. So thanks to my Monday sales, the pre-net for the week was $149.90, which is actually better than it's been. So thank you. It's another reminder that it's all in the the sales amounts. Like, you know, when you have a couple of sales that are above $10, it ends up starting to add up. And so very grateful. I think in keeping with the perception versus reality, my perception right now is that I am failing. And there is some reality in that because, again, these amounts are I'm a very privileged human. I am not going to be out on the street if I don't make a certain amount of money reselling. I make money as an artist, singing and performing. So that pays a lot of my bills. And then this is extra, helps pay my dad's rent, which I help subsidize with my sister, and it helps pay for my braces and will hopefully help pay for some new headshots that I need. But you know, I'm extremely privileged in that aspect. But that doesn't mean I can't do better. If I really want to promote this empathic capitalism, right now I'm showing that it's a failure. The only way somebody can get ahead is by screwing over everybody else. And it feels like that. And that is, again, possibly my perception and not the actual reality. But there is a lot to be said for companies like eBay being beholden to their shareholders as opposed to the sellers. And the decisions that they make is more based upon their own profit margin as opposed to what's in the best interest of the sellers or sometimes even the buyers. I will say, as somebody who purchases and who recently purchased something on eBay, it has become a lot more muddled. It's harder for me to do a search and come up with the things that I'm looking for because other stuff gets tagged into it. I was looking for a specific play and it takes more time because it's I can do as many search by price or search by this or keywords. But it feels like it's overrun. And so for me to find what I'm looking for takes more time, which I feel like in today's society where we all have less time, it's probably not as beneficial. But, you know, they have things like promoted listings and stuff. So it's you know, does that make things easier for the buyer? No. I feel like the longevity of the company is going to be more based upon, especially in an overcrowded market where people have less money on the experience. But having a bad eBay experience, which I have had, I actually had it for my Christmas present for my boyfriend this year, where I bought a whole bunch of Lego minifigures for D&D, and they were sealed, but they were sent in a poly bag, and I spent $50. And because they were in a poly bag, they came all dented and stuff, which is fine. You know, it didn't ruin the product inside. But being that it was a Christmas present, the fact that they didn't look great, didn't make me happy, you know, with the seller. And having those experiences is going to make people just go elsewhere. So You know, I'm extremely grateful. I love eBay. I love Poshmark. I love Mercari. I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to save things from the landfill and give them a new home. But I feel like we should always be able to like criticize. That's pretty much it. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you. I appreciate you listening to my ramblings. I'm just trying to create something new here. Be the change you wish to see in the world, which is technically not Gandhi, even though I thought it was. But you learn something every week. And if you don't understand what I'm referencing, watch the very end of last week's video. No need to smash a subscribe or like button. Like, you do you. Your life is, I'm sure, crazy and busy, and just taking time to like listen to me, I really appreciate it. I got nothing to sell you, just besides a new way of capitalism, because that's what we need, right? I just like, I am a very sensitive human being, and it is overwhelming sometimes, and I just want to like create something, like a little pocket of something where I get to like care about others and like, you know, do something on my own terms. So could blow up in my face. But thank you. Have a wonderful week, and onwards and upwards. Carpe Diem, y'all.